This is the visit that we have with our regional folks from Atlanta. Welcome, welcome. And Ms. Strappy will take over and introduce you. Our names are on I'm not usually the chair. Our chair is out of town, Eileen Roy. This is Dr. Paulson, Tina Certain. I think David's introduced himself. Dr. McNeely is our representative, our board representative on the Head Start Policy Council, and our superintendent, Karen Clark. Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you all for having us today. We have Ms. Deidre Mitchell. She is our regional specialist from Atlanta. And then we also have Ms. Maisa Williams. She is with the regional office as well, and they would like to just have a conversation with you all. And you all can ask questions and they'll ask questions, I imagine. And if you need me, I'll be right here. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm Maisa Williams, but I'm with the regional office. And we really just wanted to come in, and whenever we have a site visit, we try to spend some time with the board because you do have the responsibility and the oversight of the Head Start program. So when we first walked in, we didn't realize we were doing full board meeting, but great, no problem. So that's why I was like, oh, we're not going to be in the conference room. But first, we have had a great visit so far. We've went to see a few of the different centers. We've had a diversity too, because we went to the child center, but we also went to some of the classrooms that are in your elementary school. So that was great to see some diversity in programming. And really when we come out, we just want to speak with the board and just see if you have any questions for us, see how things are going, and then talk about your engagement and how you actually engage with the Head Start program. So we typically like to open it up with an opening question about how is the board currently engaged with the oversight of the Head Start program and funding, and how do you ensure that the Head Start program is meeting the federal regulations, and if anything recently happened where you had any questions about that oversight, or do you feel that you pretty much have a great understanding of the oversight of the Head Start program? So whoever would like to speak to that, how the board is engaged in Head Start oversight?
Dr. McNeely.
Well, we can all have biases, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my major bias is that we have the best in the state of Florida.
Well,
and because I don't know about nationally, I would probably say the best nationally as well. And I hope that you could see that in some of your visits that you had today, and that you will have on tomorrow, finally. But anyway, I'm the one on the board that sits on the Policy Council.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I love those meetings because it gives me more insight as to what's happening on a daily basis.
Right.
The director, Mrs. Strappy, has really been there, and I can see improvement. Well, Mrs. Roy and I and Dr. Paulson would probably say we've been in the district the longest over Mrs. Certain and Mr. Hyatt. And so I remember the time, and I told Natalie this a while back, I would love if we could. I know we clustered for a reason, but when I was principal, I had 2 Head Starts on my campus and a employee nursery as well. And I think back in the day, we did things just as great as they are going now, but I know it must have been some type of funding that made us or made us more efficient being clustered. That's my bias. I wish that they were at each school. One of the things that I've noticed with Mrs. Strappy, Mrs. I'm looking right at her, McKnight, Mrs. Williams, and there may be other administrators other than those 3, but those are the ones that I know the best. And so any questions that are unanswered or that I might need to have answered, they are the ones that I call upon, especially if Mrs. Strappy is not available.
Okay.
One of the things that I like is that every time, and I don't know if this is a good place, but it's oversight, every time that we might have an issue, we have self-reported every time. I was on a couple of those calls, and it appeared to me that the person from Atlanta, they were in agreement with us and what was taking place. Mrs. Strappy always at Policy Council meeting brings up whatever issues that may be going on, which is not that many, but whatever, she's always transparent and brings the knowledge to the Policy Council. As far as keeping up, we've had workshops, we've had individual meetings with the director. So I think that in the workshops that my colleagues and I have had, we're well on our way with understanding what needs to be done in order to have the best program in this region, and also to get ready for the rebidding process. As you know, that we will be going through that. I'm confident that we are going to be able to keep this program here because of the oversight that we've been led through. There are some features that we may want to change, but that will only enhance the program.
Right.
So I hope you can hear from my passion that we are certainly a great district. Our superintendent certainly supports everything that we have recommended, everything that Mrs. Strappy keeps us with the federal guidelines, the state guidelines, whatever. We certainly try our best to be in order. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that I can talk to you about it. And any questions that you may have of me, I will try my best to answer.
Well, thank you. You actually answered 6 of them.
Keep going. We're done.
No, it was great because as you're talking, I'm like, oh, okay, I have the answer to that, and to that, and to that. Because one of my questions was, how does the board stay informed, and what about your training? So I hear that you do have workshops. And then also, you know, if you were knowledgeable about the upcoming, you know, recompetition, which you are. And then what did you think was some of your strengths moving forward? What about some of like your challenges or things that you feel you want to focus on as you look towards recompetition or training needs that you feel as though would benefit the district?
Are you asking?
Benefit the program? Anyone?
I think that if we can regain our early head start, that would be a plus.
Okay.
Any time that we have an issue of non-compliance or whatever, immediate training begins. I'd like to see follow-up with that. That may help the adult teachers and assistants to really stay focused. And as much input that could come from the instructional staff, I'd like to see that.
Great. Okay. How does the board plan to be engaged with the re-competition process or the restructuring of the program and looking to the future and identifying your needs and how you plan to move forward?
We've identified great grant writers. Okay. We probably will have more input, but we are going with Western Kentucky. Okay. And so in meeting the consultant that came in to workshop us, we were very grateful for the information that we gathered on that day, and I feel confident that we are going to work hand in hand with that team and that we will be successful. You won't have to come back.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Well, we're here really for a good reason. Deirdre is one of our newest program specialists in the regional office, so this is her first site visit with Alachua. So in her first site visit period, so we've had a great experience. So we're
What's her name now?
Deidre.
Deidre.
Yeah, so we're really here for, just a routine annual site visit, but we were thankful to be able to speak with the board and also the policy council. I know you mentioned about how you sit with the policy council. How does the board share governance currently with the policy council, and what does that look like? Because you are a school board, so I'm assuming
Right,
that.
I have a place on the agenda for every policy council meeting to answer questions from the parents, or either bring information that may be relevant to Head Start.
Okay.
And and I'm always recognized for that.
Great.
Dr. McNeely brings us missives from the Head Start. We meet the Head Start Policy Council when they're first appointed and welcome them to that role. I think all of us care deeply about this Head Start program that we've had for 46 years. Our community depends on it.
Right.
And we, as the board of K-12, really appreciate the improvement in student learning that these children have when they come to us. It's vitally important that we continue to have it. And Dr. McNeely did such a good job in answering the other questions. We don't normally go to the policy meetings, but she brings us reports on what has happened, and oftentimes there's events at Head Start that we go and visit if we're invited to come.
Great.
And I know that as a member of the Policy Council, the advisory board for HIPPY for 12 years, before the school district took it over, I know the value of that program is tremendous, and we were so gratified that the school district took that program over, the administration of the program, and it is continuing. I attended the graduation of the students last spring. It was adorable, and we're just so proud of that program as well. And of course, we have a blended program that,
Yes.
The children go to Head Start and then the VPK. So that's a great advantage of this. One of the few that's supported by a school district, in the state of Florida anyway. Maybe other states, I don't know about that. But we're really proud of the work our Head Start is doing. And, I hope that you've seen some of the good things.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you
We
so
saw so
much.
many partnerships with HIPPY and then the Child Center. That was very impressive. We were talking in the car about how you plan to use maybe the Child Center as a model for what you can do in your other Head Start classrooms, and how that can come over, that same partnership, grassroots type of feeling that they have there, where everyone's coming together to move
Right.
forward.
It's a beautiful facility. We're just so glad that we have really interested people in this community and devoted to pre-K children,
Right.
because we know how valuable Head Start and the other programs are.
Great.
So thank you for being here, and it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, pleasure
Thank
to
you.
talk with you too. Does anyone have any questions of us or anything that you're curious about? The next process, or any questions you have?
Actually, I'm new to the board.
Hello.
I'm a non-educator, so I come with a financial background. So actually, since you mentioned the process that would happen, I'd like to hear your perspective on the recompeting process of what the district would entail. Dr. McNeely did sum up everything, as she often does. Being a new board member, I have interacted with Head Start and attending policy meetings. Ms. Rappy and staff provides us with the financial reports, their staffing and enrollment reports and things of that nature on a monthly basis.
Right.
So in orientating myself to that, and as far as trying to be able to contribute to the recompete process, as a new board member and new to this type of thing, I've just taken upon myself to just look at other Head Start programs in the state to see how they're doing things and what other things they're doing that
Right.
possibly we can incorporate into ours. We've had the grant for so long, and just to maybe bring an infusion of new ideas to the process, since we are recompeting. you've done things a certain way for so long, and sometimes you can kind of get into the habit of just doing things the way you've always done them. So hopefully by looking at other programs, I can bring some input to that. But I would indeed like to hear your perspective of how this recompeting process would go and what we could expect, since this would be my first time going through it.
So one of the points you already made is something that we talk about a lot, is looking at recompetition as a way to restructure, and thinking about, okay, we've been doing it this way for 40 plus years, what can we do differently? We do find programs are successful when they look at it as a way to either rebrand or improve or be self-reflective. When we look at it as a negative, which I know it has some negative undertone to it, it stifles our programs from really looking at, okay, this is the opportunity for us to take what's working well and do more of it, and take what's not working that well and do less of it. So how does the recompetition process work? Basically, any organization, whether it's for-profit, nonprofit, government, are all able to compete for the service area along with you in response to your funding opportunity announcement. All of the applicants are reviewed by a panel review team, which comes out of central office in DC. Each region, there's 12 regions in Head Start, so we participate with panel reviews, but not for our own region. So we cannot review an application from our own region. So there's a review team. They actually review, score, analyze the applications, and send up the top candidates to central office. After that point, we will receive in the regional office a list of who those applicants are, and then we start a process which we call negotiation. So we contact the potential candidates, let them know you're a potential candidate, and we're going to have a negotiating meeting. We look at the budget, of course. We look at the cost per child. We even look at the enrollment numbers to see if those are changing. If there's an opportunity, if the FOA, the Funding Opportunity Announcement, calls for birth to 5, and there's some changes in the program option, those things can be introduced in the application, so we look at that. And then we literally have a meeting with typically one of our managers in the regional office, your program specialist, and your DRS lead, which right now that's Michelle Boyd-Ertz. That's her name, right? Yep. She is our DRS lead coordinator, so she will have the call as well. And we look for, are you really looking at your community assessment and your self-assessment to create and design a program that meets the program's needs now, not what it was established to be 40 years ago or even 20 years ago. And if the model that you're presenting, in your application truly fits or meets the needs of some of the challenges you may have. So, we always encourage programs to think about the challenges and not shy away from them as, we don't want to talk about the challenges. That's a way for you to highlight, okay, we understand we've had these challenges, but this is what we're doing and this is what we've done since that challenge occurred to address it. So that's one of the things as well. After we have the potential candidates, we will reach back, back out the regional office and say you are a potential candidate. We're sending, your application, forward for approval. The waiting period is a little bit different because some new applicants, they kind of expect the regional office to say yes or no, and that's not our role. Central office basically, certifies who will be the grantee for the service area, and your official notice of that will come through your NOA, through your notice of award sent to the board. That whole process can take 30 days, it can take 60 days. It really depends on when the FOA is released, when the applicants come in, and how long the Office of Head Start gives us to negotiate. So I believe in your funding guidance letter, it talked about the possibility of extension. Okay, so when we get closer to the timeline where I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this, where the Office of Head Start feels as though, okay, we will not be able to review all the applicants and have a new grantee in place in time, we will do a 1-year extension. And then you'll pretty much send in a budget which was similar to the budget you would have had if you were continuing services, and then we'll start over the process of the FOA, reviewing the applications. It basically gives central office more time to go through the negotiation process and gives the organization more time to be prepared for the decision versus trying to rush it through. And you should know that we hope at least 30 days, before the end of your current budget period. So we're close to that.
So is there a time for debate?
Is there a time for appeal? Or
Appeal is the better word.
they do have an appeals process that comes out from central office. It's actually in the notification that you receive, like if you want to get a full report on your scores and your application notes, and there's a process for you to reach out to the office of Head Start. If that doesn't come to the regional office, that would go to the office of Head Start.
Dr. Paulson. say.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hello.
I'm not like Ms. Certain. I've been in this district 48 years, which is longer than the grant. Barely.
Barely.
Barely 2 years. Just a few things on what I've seen over the years. It's this is part of our school district. And education is our business. And we've had I see as a seamless transition when kids come out of Head Start into our school district. And we've always looked at it not as something separate from our school district, but something that's part of our school district. I taught and coached for 28 years. I was president of the Teacher Association for 12 and a half, been on the school board almost 9 years. And I've always seen it that way. In fact, before I was on the school board, a lady who worked for me was a Head Start instructor. And I got involved very much. I know, when we, I think when the sequester came down, that was a rough time.
It was.
And I remember I went to the American Federation of Teachers, and I got up and said, we need to support Head Start. And because they didn't have it in their political agenda. Because then I thought that would be something that might help, because you needed more money in Head Start. They cut money then. And that's when we lost our early Head Start. I think Dr. McNeely's right. Well, I wish we could have our early Head Start back, because that's when we lost it. And that was very beneficial too. I remember I heard you say, what are we doing different? Maybe specifically, I'm proud of our Parent Academy. You've been out there, I'm sure. You said you've been everywhere. Talk about a seamless transition. Not everybody has a Parent Academy. So I think I'd point that out to you.
Yes.
That's something we have, other people don't have. And we're very proud of it too. So, which we can even expand it. I think it's something that gets our kids ready for kindergarten. And the other thing, now, I'm not an expert on this, but I know you offer more services than just the regular education. I mean, you have dental services, don't you?
Yes.
Those kinds of things. That's wonderful for these kids. So I thought, that's another thing that I see that's really good for this. So I mean, I think it's. I agree with Dr. McNeely. We do have the best Head Start. Now we have issues, and we've seen the issues, and we're working on them. We're aware of them, and we're going to address them. We don't just ignore these things. We have every year. Dr. McNeely brings in the whole board. We have to meet them here at
That's right.
board meeting. I would be distraught if we didn't have Head Start. You might have to take me to a doctor. So I feel that strongly about that program.
Because it's so integrated in what you do.
Oh, it's part of our school district. And this is our business. It's not something we just have, okay, we got Head Start. Head Start is an integral part of Alachua County School Board. So I don't think I hope, we're all pretty high on Head Start, can you tell?
I can tell.
There's a lot of, I don't get this enthusiastic all the time, but I've been waiting to say something about this, because I think we love our Head Start program. We think it benefits our children, and I think it benefits our children in many more ways than just education too. And I'd like to thank the Head Start program. I want them to know that and they'll always be here. I'm going to say, I'll always want to be part of Head Start. And Dr. McNeely keeps us up on it. Mrs. Strappy keeps us. Ann Crowell was great before this. And I was in the classroom when Ms. Fernside was around, and I hear great things about her too. So that's how I feel about Head Start, and they are part, and I try to keep up with things. We get training. We go every year. We have training, and we try to listen and find out what our job is as the board. Because we're in charge, we have to take this serious. And not just take it as another thing, okay, sure, but take it serious. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It definitely shows that the board is very involved and engaged with the Head Start program, and your management team has so much energy. And what we were talking about was the innovation, just thinking about new ways to do things. And you don't see that everywhere, that you go, that innovation, that push to, okay, this is good, but it could be better. So that's one of the things that we've seen so far in our visit, and we're pretty sure we're gonna see tomorrow as well. So,
We have real synergy in this community with the newly passed Children's Trust.
We've heard.
And, I attended the dedication of the Child Center. Ms. Strappy spoke there, as well as other people. It is, as you know, it's just gorgeous. And I think that as a model going forward would just be wonderful. We're very excited. Everybody on this board enthusiastically supported the Children's Trust.
Right.
And we were thrilled that it passed. And because it means so much to this community. And, we need children that are prepared to start
Definitely.
school. Because if they aren't prepared, as you know, they just continue to fall behind as they progress through the grades. I was a high school teacher as well. And, we just don't want that to happen. We want them ready to go when they come to kindergarten. So
Right.
that's our goal. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So we'll be meeting tomorrow to do a debrief with the management team to talk about some of the things that we saw when we were here, and to get a feel for if there's any other training or technical assistance needed. So if the board at any point, if you feel as though the board itself needs more training or technical assistance, we do offer that as well from the regional office. And that's everything from fiscal, cost allocation, non-federal share, child outcomes, data assessment, anything that the board would feel would help you be more prepared in the next year or so as you go through this process. We're here to support the board as well.
So
So,
we're so thankful to you for that.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? of
Now,
us?
one more thing,
Yes.
and another thing we worked hard on when we had a transition to everybody having a bachelor's degree. And we went through that, and we tried to help out with our instructors, I know, trying to get them something with the junior college and stuff like, right, Mrs. Clark? So I thought it's another thing we've been integral in trying to help along, and that was another great thing, but it was hard to do. But it was
Yes.
worthwhile.
When you think about salaries and
Salary, we had it,
education and
yes, we had
professional
that,
development.
yes, we went through that. We kept this, if we thought we not enough money, we were there for our Head Start. So I just want you to, that's one of the things I thought of. We've been involved very, very much, everybody on our board. And I know you can hear with certain, she's brought herself up to speed real quick.
Well, it's always good to have new eyes, right, on the board, and new perspective on the board.
Sure.
That's always a great idea, always.
Sorry, I just got, I
Oh,
can talk about
that's
it.
why we're here. That's
Dr.
why we're here.
McGinley.
I have a question.
Yes.
Since you cannot rate in our area and you are rating, looking at the grants from other states, well, not states, I shouldn't say, other areas.
Regions.
Is it states?
Mhm.
All
States
right.
and regions.
So help us, or help me understand one of the places you did not agree with and the grant went elsewhere. Could you share what were some of the typical things that may have swayed the readers not to go with the previous grantee?
I can't really answer that question.
Okay.
But what I can say is making sure that the approach is responsive to your community means a lot. Like really looking at what's in your community assessment. So let me not talk about competition applications because I can't, right? But I can talk about refunding applications that come into the region every year. I can talk about that. One of the things that we look for in an application is, does the community assessment, self-assessment, goals, and training all go together? Give you an example. We look at a community assessment that says, the percentage of fathers in this particular area has decreased by 20%. We look at a self-assessment that shows that children are struggling in child outcomes in different varying areas. But we look at the goals, we'll look at 3 different goals, none of them are addressing male involvement. And then we look at the training plan for the 5-year plan, and that's not related either. So that synergy between what is the community assessment saying, what are we proposing to do, and how are we going to support that, that's something that all applications, whether it's a recompetition or a refunding, just for regular funding every year, that's something that we all look for. We want to see that what you're saying is a need in your community is actually documented in the goals that you're saying you're going to work on, and then your school readiness goals. So if we see an outcome showing that your children are scoring low on gross motor, and then we see school readiness goals that don't talk about gross motor, there seems to be a disconnect. So ensuring that your application or your plan, because we like to call it a plan, really is succinct and from assessment to outcome. It's something, whether it's a recompetition, because I can't talk about recompetition, or a refunding, that's something we're looking for in your plan.
Right.
How does your plan speak to your needs and speak to how you're addressing that need?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I hope that was somewhat helpful. But that's in every plan that we receive, whether it's, like I said,
Okay.
refunded or recompetition.
Well, I just will say one more thing, Ms. Williams, that regarding the Children's Trust, I mean, I think that's going to help Head Start be better and better as the ideas and the funding comes in. And this is a community that really, really cares about the children, because on the ballot, we had a half-penny sales tax increase, which passed by 66%, something like that, something. And then this, and we were very worried, because that's a lot to ask of people, to raise their millage and raise their sales tax. But because they care so deeply about this demographic, and it's so needed and so supported in this community, that all kinds of things are going on that are just so helpful. We have a medical bus that goes around to underserved communities and delivers health care to people that are unable to afford traditional visits to the doctor.
Right.
So we have so much going on in this community that I just feel, and as Dr. Paulson said, it's an integral part of those children's lives. Yeah.
And we saw the Parent Academy bus.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
so unique. It
And
was cool.
we have, the city actually funds the Office of Parent Engagement. Yeah. And so the city is right with us too. Yeah.
We were very impressed with the Parent Academy bus. We didn't want to get off. It was
Isn't
so
it
fun.
gorgeous?
Yeah, it was really neat,
Yeah.
really neat.
So,
Well, thank you so much for your time today. We meet with the Policy Council at 5, I think. So, pretty sure we're going to hear similar things to what you guys are saying, but a different perspective because it's the parents.
of course.
But thank you so much. Enjoy the
Thank
rest
you
of
very
your day.
much for coming. We
Yes.
really appreciate your visit. Ms. Williams and Ms. Deidre, I didn't get your last name? Mitchell, Ms. Mitchell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
this meeting is adjourned. There's nothing else. Anything else?